Caloroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 good news stories. Now, I dropped this story in the first position in the first recording of the new batch as soon as I saw it, because I don't want you to miss out. If you're in Illinois, Chicago specifically, curly fries have made their way to McDonald's. Yes, I even sent this to a friend in Chicago and asked her to go check this out. A McDonald's spokesperson said the special fries are currently available at the International McDonald's at 1035 West Randolph. This particular McDonald's is regularly rotating in international menu items. The Twister fries are being borrowed from the Malaysian McDonald's. Some other things on the menu. The McRoulette from Switzerland. I don't know what that is, and I'm going to look it up. The McRoulette is a limited-time burger offered by McDonald's Switzerland. It features a beef patty, Swiss cheese, onions, pickles, and a sauce, all served on a ciabatta roll. Also available, the Biscoff and white chocolate McPops. That's from Spain. Out of Canada, the Bacon Hot Honey McCrispy. That sounds really good. Why don't we have that, American McDonald's? From India, the Makalu Tiki. I got to look that up. The McDonald's blog says the combination of a potato and peas patty with special Indian spices coated with breadcrumbs, served with sweet tomato mayo, fresh onions, and tomatoes in a regular bun is still a hit, not just among Indians, but even foreigners who have tried it during their visit to India. Also available, the Chips Ahoy McFlurry out of Guatemala. Why don't we have that? And the Berry McPops from Switzerland. Also, low-key, McDonald's has really good donut game in Italy. How do you know that, Johnny Mac? Why are you at a McDonald's in Italy? I will tell you why. 2 reasons. 1, McDonald's is your friend. Have you ever tried to find a public restroom in, say, Rome? McDonald's is your friend. 2, have you ever tried to find a large drink with ice when you're in Europe? A, you can't find a large drink. B, you can't find ice. McDonald's is your friend. And C, sometimes you're traveling with your mother-in-law who's a little picky about her breakfast, so you just give in and you go to McDonald's and get her something she's familiar with, and then you get a donut while you're there. They're pretty good. 2 bears escaped from an enclosure in a British wildlife park. They made their way to the food storage area, and they had a week's worth of honey. Mish and Lucy are 5-year-old bears. They escaped from their enclosure due to an operational error. What is this, Jurassic Park? That allowed the bears to access a behind-the-scenes area used for food storage. The park was closed as part of standard procedure. Police were contacted. The zookeepers were able to encourage both bears back into their enclosure without the need for any intervention. The park wants you to know the bears at no point posed any threat to the public. Meanwhile, in Mexico, authorities responded to an office break-in. Oh no, who has broken into the office? Of course, the answer, a spider monkey. Officials arrived to find the spider monkey running through the break room. The monkey showed signs of malnutrition, but is now doing well in veterinary care. On Staten Island, New York, a bodega owner is giving kids free food for good grades. Wally, the owner, was interacting with a young student and said, last time was 98, then it was 99. What is it this time? The student said 100. Wally says, you know what happens, right? And hands her $100 and allowed her to pick snacks from the store. She opted for Smarties and M&Ms. Now, the guy's not a zillionaire. His brother started a GoFundMe in his name. It raised nearly $50,000. Wally says, I can't do it by myself. My fans comment and they celebrate these kids with me, and they acknowledge them with me. Let's say I'm giving them $100 or I'm giving them snacks for free or a t-shirt. For me, that doesn't matter. The most important thing is you celebrate them and you show them that you really care about their hard work. I want to talk to you about a new book by author Carl Barney about something we all strive for, happiness. You weren't born to coast through life. You were born to feel alive, to wake up with energy, to live a life that excites you. The new book, The Happiness Experiment, is the tool to help you do just that. It's not fluff. It's a practical system to help you find your unique version of joy, meaning, and drive. It's time to stop surviving and start thriving. If you want to learn more, take a few minutes at the end of this podcast and listen to an interview about the Happiness Experiment and how you can bring it to life. Plus, to discover your unique happiness type by taking the free assessment at myhappinesstype.com. That's myhappinnesstype.com. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at booksamillion.com. That's BOOKSAMILLION.com. booksamillion.com. Shout out to Wendy. Wendy dropped us a friendly email to let me know that I got a story wrong. Wendy, appreciate you listening. Appreciate you taking the time to write, and I appreciate you doing it in a nice way, not being like, this show's terrible. What is wrong with you? All right, what did Johnny Mac get wrong? Wendy, let me know. Remember the oldest tavern story from about a week ago? The one in Newport, Rhode Island? The correct name is the White Horse, not the White House Tavern, which I'm surprised I got wrong because locally there's a pretty old establishment called the White Horse, which now I want to go to. Wendy, thank you for listening so much. And good news if you are a red fox, no, not the late comedian, an actual fox that is red, you guys are not extinct. We know this because a California photographer recently caught 3 minutes of high-quality camera footage of the red fox. It is believed there may be fewer than 100 red foxes. The red fox lives high in the mountains, 6,000 feet above sea level. It's pretty reclusive, so the people haven't seen too many of them. Photographer Randy Robbins is the one who saw the fox and told Fox Weather, no pun, although kind of funny, we're a couple generations away from these foxes dying out to inbreeding and that kind of thing because their populations are so small. So I think telling their story and getting the word out is important just to sort of motivate people because people care. People want them to be saved. And those are your 5 good news stories for today. If you would like the program without commercial interruption, link in the show notes or go to caloroga.com/plus. You have an awesome day.
Our sister, I'm going to bring forward yours and give it to you now. And he said, oh, wow, that's great. Thank you. That's so generous of you, Carl. That's great. But his wife, my sister-in-law, went ballistic. She said, this is too much money. This is wrong. I don't want anything to do with it, and stormed out of the room. And I thought, well, that's not what I expected. Oh, my God. So I realized from that this was not an easy thing to do. So I learned a lesson from that, and I knew that I had to do this authentically. I had to do it right. Otherwise, it was not going to work. So that happened. And then the third thing that happened was that I was looking at my financial statements, and I had more money there than I was really using. It was sitting there. I mean, it was growing, making profits and so forth, but it wasn't being used. I wasn't using it for me. I wasn't using it for things that I really cared about, not for my people. So I thought, well, if I have all this money now, why should I wait until I die? Why don't I bring it forward? And then, it was a long process for me to come around to that, but that's what finally started this. And I said, well, I'll do it now.
Let's back up just a bit. Tell us a little bit about your new book. What is The Happiness Experiment?
Well, this is a recording of the real events with real people who I decided that I would bring forward the inheritance, the money I had for them in my will, and made it a prequest. So it was a chunk of money that they were going to get while they were still young enough to enjoy it, and I was still alive to see it happening. So I saw what they were doing. So when I sat down with them, I talked about money and happiness and how one can connect. And I said, look, I'm going to bring this forward and give it to you. But what I want from you is a plan so that you use this money. So it's really a big benefit for you. I don't want this to overwhelm you. And they said, what kind of plan? I said, I want a happiness plan. And they said, a happiness plan? What's that? So nobody seems to have a happiness plan. But it's one of the most important plans you can get. And it doesn't have to be very complex. What is it that makes you happy? What values do you want to pursue? What goals and dreams do you have? And you can pursue them. And so I got them to write a happiness plan. And then when I saw the plan, I gave them all the money, all at one time. And so then they took it, and I watched them with their plan. I saw all their plans, what they did, and how they became happier. And so, that had to be written about. So, because I wanted other people to see what they did so that they too could do the same thing.
Which prequest is the most unique one you've come across?
Well, it was a very, very painful and sad story because 2 dear friends of mine had a beloved daughter, and she was hit head on by a drunk driver and killed. She happened to be 8 months pregnant at the time, so that killed the granddaughter too, and also their daughter. They were totally wiped out, devastated, and they died emotionally. They had decided that they could never be happy again, that it would be wrong to be happy. They didn't deserve to be happy because their darling daughter had been killed. Tremendously painful, awful story. So they were grieving 6 years later. And I met with them, and I told them how much they had added to my life and how much I was so grateful to them and that I wanted to express the gratitude. And I put them in my will and they could accept that. And I said, but I want you to have it now. And they said, oh, no, we can't accept it. They turned it down. Well, we worked. I said, look, I'm leaving it open. So several months later, I think his wife persuaded him to do it, actually, so they said, okay, we'll do it because if we're going to wait until you die, why not do it now? And they did it. And it wasn't the money, interestingly enough. They said it was the coaching that made the big difference. That changed their mindset from being so negative. We'll never be happy again. We don't deserve to be happy. And the coach turned their thinking, their mindset around and said, look, you can be happy again. And they started to get the mindset of happy people. And now you cannot believe what these people, they're traveling all over the world. They're in Tahiti right now. They climbed Kilimanjaro. These people are loving life. And it was a major change. That is one of the most heartfelt, wonderful results of the and in a sense, she said, the wife said, this prequest saved my life because we were no longer living. We were dead. And this brought us back to life.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with grief, and many of us have, I have, when you're in those depths, it can be really difficult to find your way out of it. And, often it looks like there isn't a way out of it. And, sometimes you want a map, right? And it looks like this concept could be a good map for you if you're that. It sounds like it was for these folks. I always like to end interviews by asking, is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have?
How can my listeners benefit from this book? What should they do? What would be good for them? And so I'll answer that question. First off, think about happiness. Think about being happiness. You deserve to be happy, and you can be happy, but you have to make it as a choice. I'm going to increase my happiness. Just that, if you make that realistically, I want to, and I'm going to increase my happiness, that choice. And then talk to people about it. Talk to a husband or wife or a girlfriend or a friend, a therapist or coach. Talk to somebody about it and say, look, I made the decision that I want to be happier, and I'd like you to help me create a happiness plan. And then work on it. And it's not that hard, but it is challenging, but it's a wonderful exercise. And if they do it, I guarantee they will increase their happiness. I guarantee it.
Carl Barney is the author, and the book is called The Happiness Experiment, A Revolutionary Way to Increase Happiness. Carl, where can people find the book?
Wherever books are sold, and it's now available for pre-order from Amazon, and they can go to thehappinessexperiment.com, and they can pre-order it there, and I hope they will.
Carl, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. It's been fun.
You're great at protecting your own personal information. You probably even use things like two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN. But as much as you try to be in control of how your information is protected, there are lots of places that also have it, and they might not be as careful as you are. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second for identity threats. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will help solve identity theft issues on your behalf, guaranteed or your money back. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You might not be able to control how others handle your personal information, but you can help protect it with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code iHeart, or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
You can call me James. I spent 23 years designing aircraft that officially don't exist for agencies you think TV made up. Until I started asking the wrong questions. Navy ships are recording objects moving at impossible speeds. Infrastructure is failing in coordinated patterns. The moon looks smaller than it did 10 years ago. None of this is a coincidence. The official explanations don't add up. This is Paranormal Aliens, where we connect the dots they don't want connected. If you're hearing this, you know where to get podcasts. Follow Paranormal Aliens. New episodes weekly until they shut me down.